The amount of talent in prison is mind-boggling. That's what I want to talk about today. What prison taught me about finding and developing your talent. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Leroy and welcome to my channel 40 and Broke, where we're all about getting out of debt, saving, investing, and getting our finances under control so we can live the life we've always dreamed of. Because that's what it's all about, living the life we've always dreamed of. So, talent in prison. There is so much talent in prison. I mean, it's just astounding. I mean, just some of the little things like you would expect. You know, you always hear the talk about like, oh, I got a bunch of prison tattoos, which I have a bunch of prison tattoos, and a lot of them, don't get me wrong, are garbage, but most of them are garbage. But I've seen some tattoos that people spent hundreds of dollars on out here, and it's like, I can do a better job than that with a homemade tattoo gun and some fake ink, you know. So the level of talent and ingenuity that is found in there is amazing, because you have nothing but time. I knew a guy that could look at a picture and tattoo the picture, the portrait, just by looking at the picture. And that's insane. I mean, he did a portrait on his leg that was perfect. Didn't draw out, didn't put a pattern on his leg, just was looking at the portrait, the picture, and then tattooed it on his leg. Insane. I mean, I've only heard of one guy that was able to do that, this guy. But, I mean, the level of talent in there is just insane. Especially with, there's so many tattoo artists. Like, I know one guy that he did one of my tattoos. He did a tattoo because I used to watch out for him and my bunkie at the time. He was my neighbor, so I'd sit there and watch out for him while they were doing tattoos, and my bunkie was also watching out for him. And I used to have to get up early, and so as payment for being able to watch him, you know, and watching out for him and putting up with my bunkie, because he'd have to have the door open and to watch out, and he did a tattoo for me. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll take that as payment. But yeah, the level of talent for tattoo artists, I mean, it's just insane. But you've got, like I said, you've got nothing but time on your hand to practice your art. Drawing. There are so many people that can draw. I'm going to try to leave some clips in here after I talk about this, about showing some of the stuff that a guy drew while I was in the joint. And some of the stuff that I have are just copies of what he drew. So the entire detail is not all there, but it's still just magnificent. Just what people can do with a Bic pen or a color pencil is amazing. Now, my brother he was never good at drawing, but he would trace something and then he would draw it onto a mirror and then scratch it onto the mirror. So he used to have mirrors. They'd give us these little personal mirrors, I don't know, 4 by 6 inches, maybe a 5 by 7 mirror, something like that, about that size, 4 by 6, 5 by 7, and he would scratch into those mirrors little drawings. I mean stuff like, might have Mickey Mouse or hearts that say I love you and miss you, stuff like that, you know, but little simple drawings, and he'd draw those on there, and he could shade them, make, you know, do your basic shading on there. And they looked really cool. And I mean, I remember him sending me pictures. I think he even showed me some of the ones that he hadn't sold when he went home. But he used to do that. He used to make keychains. He was at a joint that offered a welding class, so he learned how to weld in prison. And one of the things he would do is, people would have personal glasses, like my glasses are a wire frame, and you'd have to spend a lot of money to get a wireframe glasses in prison. So if those glasses would break, he would take them into the welding class with them, and he'd weld them back together so that where they broke, and he'd fix them so that the person's glasses weren't broken no more. And so that was a little side hustle that he did. They would have leather aprons. He said he would cut strips off the leather aprons and just take them back and make keychains out of them. Because at some of the joints, you'd have like a key to your cell, so you could go in and out of your cell. Like Carson City had keys to your cell, so you could key yourself in and out. And so he would make keychains. And leatherworking, that's another thing that was real big in the joint. I mean, the belt that I wear, I'm wearing it right now. It was given to me as either a birthday gift or a Yule gift. And I mean, I've had it for 15 years or so, and it's still good. I mean, it's good handmade, homemade craftsmanship. And well, I don't want to say homemade, but handmade craftsmanship. And so it came out pretty good. And that's another thing that guys would do. They would take that and they would do leather work. I mean, a guy made me a rune set out of little square pieces of leather, and just made me a rune set that I could use for divination and for my religious practices. And let me see. I remember anybody that could draw, you could make money. Even if you could only draw, like me, I wasn't great at drawing, so, but I got pretty good at drawing stuff like hearts and roses and stuff like that. So I would take the roses, I would draw these roses onto an envelope. You get a pre-stamped envelope so that you could write your letters, and you could draw on the envelopes. And I know people that used to draw on envelopes, and they were good at it. And you would take that envelope and you'd sell it for $2-3 for a pre-stamped envelope. Or even if they weren't stamped, before they gave us, when we still had stamps, you would draw on an envelope and you'd sell it for $2 or $3. Or you'd take stationery, the prison stationery, or even just lined paper, and draw pictures, draw borders around the paper, so that it was just something nice that when somebody wrote a letter home, it had a nice border around it, or maybe the corners had some nice little artwork in it. And it was just something to add to it, and it was just an easy way to make money. And the talent was just crazy. I knew a guy in level 5 that used to do soap carvings. I did soap carvings once, and then I got caught with the tools, and it was like a staple that was inside an ink pen. Well, the officer was like, yeah, somebody just got stabbed with one of these. I could take you to the hole for this. And I'm like, whoa, man, I was using it for soap carvings. And he's like, I know exactly what you were using it for, because they were in with the soap carvings. He said, but you're not supposed to do that. I threw it away. We're going to forget this happened. And I'm like, I won't be doing, don't worry about me. I'm not going to be doing any soap carvings anymore. I'm done with soap carvings. And that was the last time I did those. But I knew another guy. He made a set of soap carvings for me of cats. And there were all these cats in different, I remember there was like 10 different little cats. I mean, they were probably only 2 inches tall, maybe 2 inches wide, 2 inches by 2 inches or so. But they're 3D, and it would, like, one of them would be like a cat pouncing, another one was up with his paw up in the air, another one that was just sitting up or lying down. It's just all these cats in different poses, and he carved them out of pieces of ivory soap. He made a chess set. I remember he made a chess set for me one time. That was pretty cool, and I'd play chess with that. Man, there was just so much stuff that the talent was insane. Like I said, artwork is huge because you have nothing but time to do, for building a talent. And even stuff that you wouldn't even think of. I know some people that to them the talent was playing cards. You know, they could read the deck of cards. So they would play poker, and they were good at poker. They were good at blackjack. They were good at, you know, spades. I could count cards, so I knew what had been played. I was really good at spades, and I mean, if you're good with numbers, cards is great for you. But like I was saying, there's so much talent in prison, and just like out here, you got to find what your talent is, and you have to build upon it. You have to take that talent and you have to build it, because just like in the joint, that talent, there's a way to make money off it. There's always a way to capitalize on a talent that you have, no matter what you think it is. I know people that used to cook up, and they would make a cook up with ramen noodles, cheese, meat, whatever spices you could get your hands on, or whatever little things you could get your hands on, and they would cook up, and boom, they would sell their cook-ups. Somebody'd be like, hey, I want you to cook up for me. I want to cook up. Here's all the stuff. Here's a buck or two. I want you to go cook it up. And that's how it was. I mean, I learned how to make fudge. I talked about the fudge I made. I learned how to make suckers. I learned how to do a lot of stuff. I learned how to make peanut butter cups. I learned how, you know, just all kinds of things. People will pay you for it. You just gotta figure out what it is, figure out what that talent is, and then just work at it, you know. And just like out here, so there it is. Find you a talent, make it work for you. All right, everybody. Have a good one, and keep at it. Don't give up.